Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet have been out for nearly a week now, and in that time, I've learned a lot from both my gameplay and you guys to make adventuring throughout Paldea a little easier. With that, this is a video of my top 10 tips and tricks to help you on your adventure in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. Remember, if you like this video or find it helpful, please give it a thumbs up because that helps me a ton. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing for more Pokemon Scarlet and Violet content in the future. So let's get right on into my top 10 tips and tricks for Paldea. If you have some tips that you think are super helpful that I have missed, please leave them down in the comments and I will give it a heart so that everybody can see it. Number 1 is a series staple, but we have a lot of newcomers, so I'm going to go ahead and share it. Complete your decks as you go. This region is huge, and if you find a spawn that's a little more rare than the others, you might have a hard time getting back to that location later on. This game isn't like Breath of the Wild or even Arceus, where you can place multiple markers on the map to revisit. You can only set one single destination. I think this is a bit of an oversight, and because of that, I think it's very helpful to catch everything you see while you're on your adventure. Tip number 2 goes hand in hand with tip number 1, and that is Pokedex Rewards. This is a new system introduced in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, and this is in my top 10 list because most people didn't know that there are actually 2 sets of Pokedex rewards you can claim. That's right, so the first set of rewards can be claimed by going to your Pokedex, clicking the picture of Paldea, and then pressing X, which you'll see at the bottom of the screen. There's a little indicator X for like the trophy icon. And this will give you all sorts of things for every 10 Pokemon you catch on your journey. However, you can also visit Jacques in the biology lab, and he will also give you rewards based on your deck's completion. This is actually very helpful because this is how you get False Swipe. But you get a bunch of other things like Quick Balls, Ultra Balls, and other stuff depending on how many Pokemon you have. So make sure you are claiming these rewards as you are completing your Pokedex throughout your adventure. It will help you a ton, I promise. Number 3 is to make sure your map is locked. This one threw me off for a long time, and I didn't even know you could lock the map. Whenever I would access my map, the orientation would rotate based on where my character was facing, and so the entire region of Paldea was even more confusing than it had to be. When you are in your map, push the right stick, and it will indicate in the bottom left corner whether you are in a set north orientation or a rotation mode. I don't know why you would use rotation mode, but to learn the region, I would definitely say make sure your map is locked, and that should help you keep your bearing throughout your adventure. Speaking of right stick, I see a lot of people play this game with the zoomed in mode engaged, and I'm not gonna lie, that kind of triggers me. You get a much wider field of view if you push the right stick and go into the zoomed out mode. This is super helpful for not missing any shinies or any rare spawns, and I just like seeing more of the map as I navigate. Of course, use whatever you like here, but I recommend zooming out, especially if you're shiny hunting. Number 4 is you can actually remember moves. This was both in Gen 8 and Arceus, but it's a little hidden in this game, and a couple people didn't know about it, so I put it in this video. You can remember Pokemon moves anywhere. You'll just have to click on the Pokemon, go to their summary, and on the moves screen in the summary, press A, and you'll have the option to remember moves. This is free, you can do it at any time, so use it as you wish. There's no penalty for doing so. I've heard a couple of people saying that they had bugged games and that their Pokemon wasn't learning moves as they leveled up. This also fixes that problem. You can just go back and learn any of the moves that you would have learned previously. Number 5 is to collect points from the dens. The league points are a secondary currency in this game, and they're basically as good as Pokédollars. You can use them in most places. If you see a glowing den you haven't clicked on yet, even if you don't want to fight it, make sure you at least click on the den to collect those points. You do not get additional points for defeating the den, but if you find a Terra Max Pokemon in the wild that's not in a den, defeating that or catching it will give you a ton of points, so you want to make sure to complete those battles. Doing dens isn't totally pointless though, because they do yield you a ton of rewards. It's also a cool way to complete the decks because you can find things in dens that you haven't ran into in the wild before. But I would say the most important thing from the dens and the Terra Max Pokemon throughout your normal adventure would be the league points, because that's going to help whenever you run out of real money. Number 6 is to make sure to pick up all of the Pokeballs and all of the sparkly dots on the ground, because those reset each time the area does, and they yield a ton of additional rewards. You can get balls, battle items, treasures to sell for Pokedollars, evolution stones, and more. And like I said, these reset with the routes, so if you leave, then that's just a wasted item, basically. Make sure you grab these when you see them. The additional drops will help you a ton on your adventure. Number 7 is to save often. If you've been around the Pokemon games for a while, you know this is a staple. But specifically, these games like to crash a lot, so I recommend saving about every 15 to 20 minutes just to make sure you don't lose any of that progress. Hopefully we can get a patch in the future to help increase stability for these games. But right now we got what we got, so make sure you save often to save yourself some stress. It's happened live on stream and it is not fun. Number 8 is do Titans for mobility. Out of all of these story components, I would say the Titans path is the one I would complete first because it really helps you with accessing the rest of the map. At least if you're doing things like one badge at a time, like one dent, one Titan, one gym, one team star at a time, something like that. I would at least do the Titan battle first just to get that extra bit of mobility because it does help a ton. From the Flying Titan, you get Surf. From the Rock Titan, you get Dash. From the Dragon Titan, you get Climb. From the Steel Titan, you get High Jump. And from the Ground Titan, you get Glide. I personally recommend Surf, Dash, and the High Jump for your early grabs. But of course, you can grab whatever you think is the most useful. Just know that in order to increase mobility, you do get those options from the Titan storyline. Number 9 is to do some outbreaks on your adventure. If you check your map at any time, you'll see either question marks or Pokemon icons. There'll be question marks if they're not in your decks yet, and it'll actually show the Pokemon if you've caught it before. But if you go to those areas, that's what's called an outbreak. These are good for a couple things. One is you can use it to complete your decks. Like I said, if there's a question mark on your map, that means you don't have the Pokemon, so you know exactly where to go to get something new for your decks. The other reason outbreaks are good is that they are a easy and early method you can shiny hunt. If you go to an outbreak location and auto battle or defeat 60 of the spawns, you will have increased shiny odds of 1 in 1365. And from there, you can simply check the spawns, go to your picnic to reset the spawns, leave the picnic, check the spawns, rinse, and repeat. And my 10th tip, but certainly not the least, is to take your time, friends. Yes, this game runs abysmally, but what we have here is actually pretty fun in terms of a Pokemon game. Honestly, I'd call it fun in terms of any game. I don't know about you, but I'm having a blast just going around the region for my first time, exploring every nook and cranny, checking out the new Pokemon, visiting with NPCs, engaging with the multiple storylines. There is so much to do in Paldea, it would be a shame to just rush through the badges and beat it for some in-game content. I have heard the post-game content is great, and that's awesome for when I get there, but I'm having a blast just playing through the base game. I don't want anybody's experience to be spoiled due to a hastiness to complete the game, so I just want to remind you that there's no crime in taking your time, and that these games will be here for us to enjoy for some time to come in the future. I'm hoping for some DLC, but we have a ton of content to work with right now that I'm happy with. I hope you're having just as much fun as I am, and thank you for watching this video on my top 10 tips and tricks for Paldea. Remember, friends, if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up because that helps immensely. And don't forget to subscribe for some more Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet content in the future. I stream every single night over at twitch.tv/precision. We are doing a shiny playthrough right now, as well as a regular playthrough that somehow has a ton of shinies on it. So I guess 2 shiny playthroughs right now. Feel free to hop in and let me know how you're enjoying the game so far. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you in the next one.